Watch a live call-in special dealing with the reassessment issues of Northampton County Tuesday at 8. Funding for Scholastic Scrimmage is provided in part by the Air Products Foundation. The foundation is supported by donations from Air Products and Chemicals Incorporated as a charitable organization whose contributions provide support for educational, cultural, health, and community programs in the Lehigh Valley.
Proud to support the finest in education and in public television, we are the people of Muhlenberg College.
From UGI, your natural gas company, keeping your home warm and cozy and the environment clean for over 100 years. From Mack Truck Incorporated, a leading worldwide manufacturer of heavy-duty trucks. The series is also made possible through Channel 39 School Services participating districts. WLVT-TV presents Scholastic Scrimmage, a weekly program featuring teams from Lehigh Valley High Schools in a contest of quick recall. Tonight's teams are from Boyertown High School and Parkland High School. Your host for Scholastic Scrimmage is Harry Price.
Good evening and welcome again to Scholastic Scrimmage. We'll say hello to the teams and the coaches. Then we're going to begin the semifinal contest. From Boyertown High School, Alex Vanderkloot, Jr., Jeff Walter, also a junior. The captain, Shane Yeager, is a senior. Kirsten Becker is a senior. We have two coaches, Michael Perry, teacher of physics, and Bob Harincevich, teacher of German. From Parkland High School, Brian Perriello, a senior. Captain Matt O'Donnell is a senior. Eric Makovsky, junior. Brian Chu, also a junior. And again, we have two coaches. We have Roseanne Heckman, teacher of mathematics, and Kathleen Dimmick, the school librarian. Channel 39 is pleased to announce that at the conclusion of the series, the Air Products Foundation will present a $2,000 scholarship award to the Championship High School and a $1,000 scholarship award to the runner-up high school. Both awards will be in the names of the Scholastic Scrimmage teams. Remember, the answers to the questions on Scholastic Scrimmage require rapid recall of factual information and aren't necessarily indicative of academic training. The rules for the contest are as follows. On toss-up questions, you'll be given 10 points for each correct answer, and 10 points will be deducted for an incorrect response. If you answer incorrectly, then the opposing team will have an opportunity to answer without penalty, and they'll receive 5 points for a correct answer in this situation. Of course, each correct answer to a toss-up question gives you an opportunity to answer a bonus question without penalty. Team members may confer only on the bonus questions, and the answers to these questions should be given to me by the two team captains. A buzzer's going to signal at the end of the contest. If it sounds while a question is being asked, the game stops. If the buzzer goes off while you're answering, you will be permitted to complete your answer, but no bonus questions will be asked. Are there any questions? If not, we're going to begin with our first toss-up, and we're preparing for a 10-point bonus. Here's your toss-up. Of which country is Marseille a major port? Parkland, Eric.
France.
Correct. And here's your bonus, 10-pointer. I want you to name the French philosopher, mathematician, and scientist who was called the father of modern philosophy. Among other works, he wrote Discourse on Method. Matt.
Descartes.
René Descartes is correct. He's also known as the father of analytic geometry. Going for a 10-point bonus. Here's your toss-up. Give the phrase of from beginning to end, a phrase comprised of the first and last. That's Boyertown. Kirsten.
Alpha to omega.
We'll accept it. It's the first and the last letters of the Greek alphabet. Alpha and omega. Alpha to omega is acceptable. Here's your bonus, a 10-pointer. For Shane Yeager's team, Shane, you give me the answers. Here it is. 5 points apiece. I want you to complete each of the following. First, the phrase from beginning to end, which includes 2 letters of the English alphabet. Shane?
From A to Z.
Correct. the phrase for the basic facts, the simplest elements, or the principles of a subject? Shane?
The ABCs.
You are correct. The ABCs of. And you've got your 10 points. Going for a 15-point bonus toss-up. Which two of the following are vector quantities? Would it be volume, time, force, mass, or velocity? Parkland, Brian.
Force and velocity.
Correct, Brian. And your bonus, a 15-pointer for Parkland. Matt gives me the answers. For 5 points apiece again, what physical quantity does each of the following relationships determine? First, mass times acceleration. Matt?
Force.
Correct. Distance divided by time. Matt?
Speed.
Correct. And finally, mass times speed of light squared. Matt?
Energy.
You are correct on all three. You've got your 15. And toss-up, looking again at a 10-point bonus. It's a mathematical toss-up question. A right circular cone has a base of radius 3 centimeters and a height of 10 centimeters. For 10 points, what is its volume in cubic centimeters? Parkland, Matt.
90 pi cubic centimeters.
Incorrect. Shane?
180 pi.
Incorrect. It's 30 pi cubic centimeters. I wanted its volume in cubic centimeters. Another toss-up. How many amendments to the U.S. Constitution? Parkland, Brian.
26.
Incorrect. Over to Boyertown. How many amendments to the U.S. Constitution have been ratified since the Bill of Rights was added in 1791? Kirsten.
16.
16. The 26th Amendment was ratified in 1971. It's the final one. Here we have your bonus. It's a 10-pointer. You got 5 on the rebound. For 5 points per set, answer each of the following. First set. In which year and in which city was George Washington inaugurated on the balcony of Federal Hall as the first U.S. president? Shane?
1789 in Philadelphia.
Incorrect. And you had to get both to get this one. It would be April 30th, which was not called for, 1789. 1789 is correct. New York City. Second, how many amendments are in the group known as the Bill of Rights? And which of these amendments was adopted to reassure people that the national government would not swallow up the states? Shane.
10 amendments and the 10th.
You are correct. And the 10th Amendment essentially says power is not given to the federal government, we're given to the states or to the people. Toss-up. Going for a 10-pointer. What do we call the sense of relief or cleansing found at Parkland, Matt?
Catharsis.
Correct. Found at the end of Shakespearean tragedies. And your bonus, a 10-pointer, also in literature. In The Merchant of Venice, Shakespeare writes that the man that hath no music in himself is fit for treason, stratagem, and spoils. What, according to Shakespeare, did Cassius do too much that made him dangerous?
He thinks too much.
Matt?
He thinks too much?
You are correct. Such men are dangerous. Here's your toss-up looking at a 10-pointer. The photograph that you see there on the monitor is by the late Robert Mapplethorpe, whose works continue to attract attention. Name the U.S. city which has taken legal action in an attempt to stop an exhibition of his photos. The city I'm looking for is Cincinnati, Ohio, and I think if you remember, about a year ago, some members of Congress used Mapplethorpe's photography as an example of offensive art and that it shouldn't be promoted with public funds. Here's your toss-up looking at a 15-pointer. Which part of the body is affected by the inflammatory condition known as otitis? Parkland, Brian.
The ear.
Correct. Inflammation of the mucous membrane of the ear is otitis. 15-pointer. For Parkland, 5 points apiece. Name the body part affected by each of the following inflammations. First, phlebitis. Matt?
Lungs.
Incorrect. Phlebitis is an inflammation of the inner membrane of a vein. It can actually occur in many parts of the body, quite often in the legs. But vein is what I was looking for. Encephalitis. Matt?
The brain.
Correct. Osteitis. Matt?
Bones.
Correct. And you have 2 out of 3 for 10 points. Again, looking at a 10-point bonus toss-up. Listen carefully on this one. A secretary types 4 letters to 4 people and addresses the 4 envelopes. If she inserts the letters at random, each in a different envelope for 10 points, what is the probability that exactly 3 letters will... Parkland, Brian.
0.
You are correct, that exactly 3 letters will go into the right envelopes. 0, because if 3 letters match the envelopes, the 4th must. So the probability is 0. 15-point bonus for Parkland. Along about the 6th grade, we learned to express fractions and decimal equivalents. Learning, for instance, that 3/4 can be expressed as 0.75. The process works the other way as well. For 5 points apiece, provide the fractions in simplest form expressed in the following decimals. Here's your first one. 0.375. Matt?
3/8.
Correct. 0.5625. Matt?
5/8.
Incorrect. It would be 9/16. And finally, 0.875. Matt?
7/8.
You are correct. You have 2 out of the 3 for 10. Again, looking at a 15-point bonus. Identify both the political scandal which resulted in the resignation of a U.S. president and the year in which he resigned. Parkland, Brian.
Watergate, 1974.
Correct. And, of course, the president was Richard Nixon. Here's your bonus, a 15-pointer. For 5 points apiece, name each of the following concerning Watergate. First, Nixon's attorney general, who was later convicted of criminal charges. Matt?
Jaworski.
No, it was John Mitchell. John Mitchell. Second, Nixon's 2 top aides, who were also convicted. I'm sorry, Matt, you just missed the buzzer. The 2 top aides who were convicted were John Ehrlichman and H.R. Haldeman. And finally, Nixon's former presidential counsel, who was the chief witness against him in the hearings. Matt?
Cox.
Not Cox. John Dean. We're going on to another toss-up, looking at a 10-point bonus. For 10 points, and no correcting yourself once you've begun, I want you to spell this word, which means involving mutual slaughter, and it's internecine. And no response. It's internecine, internecine. Another toss-up. 18-karat gold is what fraction of... Parkland, Matt.
3/4.
You're correct. What fraction of pure gold? It's 18 divided by 24, or 3/4. Bonus 10-pointer. For 5 points each, Matt. Name the primary metal taken from each of the following. First, magnetite.
Iron.
Matt?
Iron.
Correct. Bauxite.
Aluminum.
Matt?
Aluminum.
Correct again. You have your 10. Toss up on the monitor. Mathematics visual. If they exist, give minimal and maximal values which y can attain. And No, that was a toss-up. No response from either side? Yes. The y is greater than 0 and less than or equal to 3. Another toss-up. In which two Canadian provinces are the cities of Ottawa and Hull, that's Hull, separated by the Ottawa River? Parkland, Brian.
Ontario and Quebec.
Correct. Ottawa being in Ontario and Hull right across the river in Quebec. Your bonus, a 10-pointer for 5 points apiece. Name the province of each of the following Canadian cities. The first, Hamilton. Matt?
Ontario.
Correct. Saskatoon. Matt?
Saskatchewan.
Correct. The largest city in that province. Toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. Classify the fourth pronoun in the following passage. You misjudge me cruelly. It is true that I have some knowledge. Parkland, Eric.
First person, singular, nominative.
Incorrect. I'm going over to Boyertown. You misjudge me cruelly. It is true that I have some knowledge of drugs and medicines, but only sometimes can I cure sickness, and I want you to classify the fourth pronoun. And the fourth pronoun, which is that, is a demonstrative pronoun. Another toss-up. Specifically, what is the profession of a person who regularly administers such substances as ethylene, cyclopropane, halothane, sodium pentothal? Parkland, Matt.
Anesthesiologist.
You are correct. Your bonus, a 10-pointer. Geography is the study of the Earth. What is selenography? And I'll spell that, S-E-L-E-N-O-G-R-A-P-H-Y. Matt?
The moon. The study of the moon.
Is that specific enough, judges? They have accepted. Study of the surface of the moon is correct. Selenography. Here's your toss-up. It's a listening toss-up, and I want you to listen to the excerpt. I want you to name the composer of this work, known as Symphony Number 41 in C major. Parkland, Brian.
Mozart.
You are correct, but most popularly recognized that piece as the Jupiter Symphony, and it's Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Here's your bonus, a 10-pointer. One episode of MASH told the story of a former concert pianist whose war injury caused him to lose use of his right hand, but Charles Winchester helped the situation by showing him the masterful concerto in D for the left hand. For 10 points, who was the composer of this concerto, who also composed Bolero? Matt?
Ravel.
Maurice Ravel, the French composer, is correct. Going for a 15-pointer toss-up. Name the volunteer group of American flyers who supported China in World War... That's Parkland, Eric.
Flying Tigers.
You are correct. I wanted you to name the volunteer group of American flyers who supported China in World War II and fought for Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek in his government's war against Japan. And this group was led by Claire Lee Chenault, and they were known as the Flying Tigers, and formally they were the American Volunteer or Voluntary Group. Here's your bonus, a 15-pointer. For 5 points each, name the following. The Southeastern Conference University, whose teams are known as the Fighting Tigers.
Auburn is the Tigers. Auburn is respect. No, Auburn's not the respect.
Matt?
Auburn.
No. Louisiana State University, LSU. Second, the spelling of the name of Winnie the Pooh's tiger friend. Matt?
Tigger.
You are correct. And is that pronounced Tigger? And finally, the Indian maiden who is rescued by Peter Pan in James Barrie's Peter Pan.
I didn't see it. What is it? Do you know?
No response. It would be Tiger Lily. So you had 1 out of the 3 for 5 points. Going for a 15-pointer again. What color symbolically denotes the following? Candor, purity. Parkland, Brian.
White.
Correct. Innocence, simplicity, and hope. All white. Here's your bonus, a 15-pointer. It's a multiple choice, several sections. 5 points apiece. Identify each of the following concerning the Bible. In the King James Version of the Bible in the Old and New Testament was the number of books 46, 56, 66, or 76? Matt?
56.
No, it's 66. Second, the number of sons in Adam and Eve was 2, 3, 4, or 5?
3.
Matt?
3.
Abel, Cain, and Seth. And finally, the number of days before the waters began to recede after the flood of 40 days and 40 nights was 130 days, 150 days, 170 days, or 190 days? Matt?
150.
You are correct. You have 2 out of the 3 for 10. Now, a toss-up, and I want you to give all 3 of the responses at one time. I'm not going to ask these things singly. I want you to give the Roman numerals for all of the following: 10, 100, and 1,000. Parkland, Eric.
X, C, and M.
Correct. Bonus 10-pointer. On the monitor, the 2 straight lines you see there have the following equations. Y is equal to 2x minus 1, and y is equal to 5 minus x. Again, that's y is equal to 2x minus 1, y is equal to 5 minus x. They intersect in exactly 1 point. I'll give you 5 points for finding the x value of the intersection, and another 5 for finding the y value of that intersection. Matt?
X is 2 and Y is 3.
Correct. Toss up, going for a 10-pointer. What is the geological term for a surface between rocks of 2 different ages of Earth history? It's called unconformity. Unconformity. Another toss-up, going for a 15-pointer. Which future U.S. president distributed food for President Wilson in Belgium? Parkland, Brian.
Herbert Hoover.
Correct. He became food administrator in the United States and served as Secretary of Commerce under both Warren Harding and Calvin Coolidge. Was our 31st president, Herbert Hoover. Your bonus, a 15-pointer. 5 points apiece. Name each of the following concerning Herbert Hoover. First, the party of the candidate who received only 87 electoral votes in the 1928 presidential election. Matt?
Democrat.
Correct. And I should say that was Alfred E. Smith, the candidate. The year the stock market crashed. Matt?
1929.
Correct. And I want the Army, really the name of the Army of unemployed war veterans who marched on Washington in 1932. Matt?
Bonus Army.
Correct. Again, you have your 15. Going for a 15-pointer toss-up. And you want paper and pencil possibly on this. Take the number of A's in Guatemala and multiply by the number of N's. Zen is in Nevada, in Cincinnati. And give me your numerical answer. Boyertown, Jeff.
9.
Correct, Jeff. 3 A's in each. Guatemala, I should say, has 3 A's, and Cincinnati has 3 N's. Here's your bonus, a 15-pointer. I want you to identify each of the following concerning Scotland. First, its official language. Shane?
English.
Correct. The name for its blue and white flag. Shane?
No response.
It would be St. Andrew's Cross, or the flag of St. Andrew. And finally, the novelist honored by the Scott Memorial. Shane?
Burns.
Incorrect. Again, the novelist honored by the Scott Memorial, I was looking for Sir Walter Scott, the Scottish novelist and writer of romantic poems. He got 1 out of the 3, Shane, for 5 points. Looking at a 15-point bonus, toss-up. Alfred Lord Tennyson wrote in The Passing of Arthur, For why is all around us here as if some lesser God had made the world, but had not forced to shape it as he would? Which film starring William Hurt and Marlee Matlin about a deaf mute? Parkland, Brian.
Children of a Lesser God.
You are correct. Takes its title from that Tennyson passage. That's the final buzzer. And the final score is 255 for Parkland, 45 for Boyertown. Well, Boyertown, we want to thank you for participating. We congratulate you for getting into the semifinal round. Alex and Jeff, we're going to see you back here again next year, we hope. Shane and Kirsten, good luck for the remainder of this year and on into college next year. Parkland, congratulations. We're going to see you back here in the championship contest, which will be a one-hour contest on June 7th. Your opponents will be determined next week, and your opponents will be from either Stroudsburg High School or Emmaus High School. And again, they will be in our semifinal contest next week. This is Harry Price. Thank you for being with us, and good night.
Funding for Scholastic Scrimmage is provided in part by the Air Products Foundation. The foundation is supported by donations from Air Products and Chemicals Incorporated as a charitable organization whose contributions provide support for educational, cultural, health, and community programs in the Lehigh Valley.
Proud to support the finest in education and in public television, we are the people of Muhlenberg College.
From UGI, your natural gas company, keeping your home warm and cozy and the environment clean for over 100 years. From Mack Truck Incorporated, a leading worldwide manufacturer of heavy-duty trucks. The series is also made possible through Channel 39 School Services participating districts.